For all episodes and more information, please visit us at marriedmillions.com.
What role do you each play, and how do you make it work?
Wow. Do you want that answer from both of us, or?
That would be fine.
Selena plays everything. Hello?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah, she plays every role, and I just kind of give strategic advice.
So really, like, if we look at who does what in this business, he's not lying. I feel like I have to. But in all seriousness, I pretty much manage the general operation of the business. So I serve as president of the business, and he serves as really the chief financial officer. So as we're evaluating different projects, he'll look at whether or not these projects pay out. He'll also look at where we stand from a financial perspective, and as we look at financing and answering questions that pertain to our financial stakeholders, he is the person that kind of heads that household, especially given the fact that he's got an investment banking background, and I have no interest in that kind of. But
there you go.
Make it work. I'll let him answer that part.
She didn't ask that question yet.
Yeah.
How do we make it work?
Yeah, what role do you each play, and how do you make it work?
I mean, honestly, I just listen to her, and she tells me what to do, and I just go ahead and do it. And sometimes I don't do it as best as I could, and then she gets mad at me, and then I gotta go do it again. That's pretty much how we make it work. I do what she says. Because honestly, a lot of prayer, a lot of fussing, I mean, I think a lot of patience, a lot of prayer. It's hard. It's hard to make it work. It's hard to have children and really balance out the schedule. You got to try to find time to have kind of quiet moments, take a step back from the business. Sometimes we got to make a concerted effort to not talk about the business at all.
Which we talk about all the time.
Which we talk about, 90% of the time of our days.
Right.
So, it's tough, and I'm not going to lie to you. At times, I've questioned whether we should have even entertained the business in general. So I think that if you're a married couple doing that kind of stuff, it's probably going to cross your mind at least, 3 or 4 times, depending on how long you're in the business, just because it's tough trying to start a business like that. I think once the business gets going and you begin to really, really like the business is going well now, but you figure, let's say you have a multi-billion-dollar business is a little bit different than running a small business. You know what I mean?
Right. It is.
Breaking that. So it's just very, very interesting kind of dynamic, and I think overall I kind of let her take the lead in a lot of different things because she's closer to the business than I am. From that perspective, she's dealing with customers on a regular basis. She deals with a lot of the vintners in South Africa more than I do, so I reference her knowledge in that respect and to make the best decision for the business. Unless I see something financially, overall financially glaring, then I wouldn't, I'd probably overrule her in that respect. But generally, I would kind of defer to her.
Okay. Well, on that note, so what's a typical day like in your business?
A typical day, oh my gosh. So
you have a typical day.
A day right now in the business feels like it's filled with firefighting. I'll wake up and just to give some context, if you were to look at how, from a time management standpoint, how we break up the time that we spend focusing on heritage link brands, 110% of my time is probably focused on the business, where you've got about 40 to 50% of Kareem's time focused on the business. Because when we decided to do this business, we also knew that when one goes into a venture that you're starting from the ground up, in order to prove yourself within the industry and in order to get the relevant financing that's necessary to make this be a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, you need to show that you've got some skin in the game. So 110% of my time is spent on that. I'd say 40% of Kareem's time is spent. The other 60%, he's actually working a completely different job. And so I wake up and I probably am trying to catch, either I'm trying to catch or my vintners who are in Africa are trying to catch me live on the phone. So the very first couple of hours are really trying to make sure that those communications take place before their close of business. That could be related to, checking to make sure inventory is en route from Africa to here. That could be trying to get samples to taste out a new vintage or a new varietal of wine that they want us to sell in the country. It can be a whole host of issues that the suppliers want to talk to us about. Then after that, I say a good amount of time is spent on administrativia that's related to whatever happened during that phone call, whether that's calling freight companies, truckers, shippers, etc. I'm probably on the phone with customers and orders, trying to understand how things are going in the marketplace. And at one point or another, we'll probably, either get an order or lose an order, or need to do some analysis on whether or not we can actually respond to a proposal that they've had. They want us to give away the bank or they want something for free. And at that point, I usually get on the phone with Kareem to discuss, whether or not something is viable, whether or not a particular project or a program makes sense. He'll run a business model, we'll evaluate it, and decide to move forward. Today, on unforeseen things always happen, like, the warehouse will call me and say, oh, we're out of stock on something, or I'll get a call from one of our brand ambassadors that works for us out in the field to say, there's a promotion that I'd like to participate in. Can you, look into this and see if this makes sense for the business? And that's how the day goes. It's a myriad of a bunch of different general management activities that, from day to day vary, but are the same, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does make sense. Do you work in the home, or do you work in the office, or a little of both?
A little of both. We have an office physically in Los Angeles. We originally, when we lived in Boston, we had both an office in Boston and in Los Angeles. We've since closed our Boston office. So out of LA, we do a lot of administrativia, and we probably go into that office maybe about once a quarter. And then when I'm not in that office, I'm out on the road, and I probably go out on the road more than Kareem does, just given the fact that he's got responsibilities with both Heritage Link and another employer.
Right.
But I'm not out on the road. I'm at home working from the office in the house, so it kind of works out. I probably spend about 40% of my time out on the road, the other 60% in home office.
Wow. Now, all that being said, especially with how you got started in the business, what advice would you give to another couple looking to start in your industry?
Oh, another couple that is looking to start in our industry, I would say to have a lot, well, Kareem will have a very different answer than I will. Have a lot of passion for the industry, know exactly why it is that you want to start it, because your business is going to be big here.